We're there. Hold on. Yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah, it's not giving us an invalid now. Okay. All right, can you turn us back on now? So that it comes up on the screen. You did something here. Can you play the screen? Yeah. Mhm. Okay.
Which we can have some tech support.
Yep.
Okay, tech support resolved. Welcome everyone to the annual special joint meeting of the Lemon Grove School Board and the Lemon Grove City Council. Today is July 20th, 2026. And I will be calling this meeting to order at 6:15. So on behalf of the board, we'll start with roll call and then we'll turn it over to the City Council for their quorum. So roll call will start with their brand new provisionally appointed board member, Trustee Gastelum.
Here.
Congratulations. Trustee Bertriello.
Present.
Trustee Smith. Trustee Preciado. And I'm Trustee Ayala, present. We'll now turn it over to roll call for the City Council.
Allison Snow here. Mayor Pro Tem Jessica Heredia here. Councilmember Mendoza here. Councilmember Yair Bejarano here.
Councilmember Seth Smith, present.
Great, thank you. We'll now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Superintendent Vincent will lead us in the pledge.
Ready? Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So we're now moving on to item 1D. Public comment, open session agendized items. We have a couple public comments, and just to remind those who are giving public comment, your time is limited to 3 minutes. And we'll have a timer up available. So first up, and in no particular order, Joaquin Bertudo, speaking on item 3C, please come on up.
Hello, appreciate the time. My name is Joaquin. I'm a resident of Lemon Grove. I've grown up here my entire life. Went to San Altos, went to Paul Middle School, went to Gillis High School. My parents would not let me go to Mount Gill. But I own Sporting San Diego. It's a competitive soccer club. It's located right in the same square as the campus. So basically, growing up here in Lemon Grove, there was no soccer. I was always outsourced. I was lucky enough to make it to a pretty high level when soccer is my profession. I've been doing this since I was 24. I haven't had any other job. So this is my full-time job. And my passion is to teach kids. And right now we run a club that has 800 kids. I think some of you guys up here as kids might have played with me as well, right there. And I want to bring something to Lemon Grove. It's been, a wish of mine for a long time, and I'm hoping you guys are open to that. Whether we do free 6-week clinics, free after-school programs for pre-K through 5th grade, or a dedicated youth Grove residents. I'm hoping to get support through advertisement and field space.
Okay, thank you for your public comments.
Appreciate it.
Next up is Ms. Julia Yamikas. Please come up. Yamishi, apologies.
I've been knowing to pronounce that right. Hey guys, Jules. I'm just up here to represent Lemon Grove Community Activities. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's the sports group that meets at the Lemon Grove Middle Fields every Saturday morning. We offer volleyball, basketball, pickleball, softball, and apparently public works guys are coming and playing soccer at the same time and have invited that, made it an open invitation, so maybe soccer soon. I'm just here to say thank you to everyone who has been involved in this project. I know you guys are going to be talking about just adding some clarity for the field use and all the different facilities out there. But I want you guys to know that our programming has blossomed and we have touched thousands of lives over the last, what? 4 years, I think, since 2022 when we started all of this. It's obviously started with pickleball and that's where we worked really we worked with you guys, but you know, it's since expanded. And so, we want to work with our leadership and make sure everything is like kumbaya because we're doing this for our community and for Lemon Grove and we want to be, right with everything. So thank you guys. We appreciate you and, that's pretty much it. So thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Good to hear us doing well. In terms of our connection with the community, Ms. Brenda Hammond.
Hi, so growing up here in Lemon Grove, the fields were always open to everybody. I used to play tennis. I'm sorry about you guys, but I used to play tennis and the one person I played tennis, I'm not gonna say her name, but she went on to be a pro tennis player. And that was from practicing on that field out. So I hope we could keep it open and I hope you don't have too many rules. I mean, you know, this needs to be open for the kids. The kids need something to do as well as the adults. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up, Crystal Johnson.
Good evening, thank you. So first off, I just want to say it's really exciting to see the joint meeting and I'm excited to listen and hear more about your collaboration together. I just wanted to talk about the recreation center. I know you're gonna have more conversation around the restrooms. And so for me, I just wanted to bring up that I am excited for you guys to collaborate and I'm excited to hear more about how you're going to continue with the $200,000 that was budgeted for upkeep. And so, as there was that conversation, just thank you for being here. Thank you for having that collaboration. And if there's any information you can give on timelines and the more information, the better, just so that we have that level of transparency and trust with the community, I think it would be really appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Okay, and that concludes public comment. We're now moving on to the approval of the agenda. So first up is school board approving the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Moved by trustee Sartoriello. Is there a second? Trustee Smith, all in favor, say aye. Okay, motion carries unanimously. I'll turn it over to the city council.
And do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
A second from Seth Smith. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Measure passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor Snow. We'll now move on to information item. First up is 2A Lemon Grove School District Overview, Superintendent Vincent.
The podium. Thank you, board members, mayor, city council, then city staff and community. It is my pleasure to be able to share with you this evening a brief overview of our work in the Lemon Grove School District. Thank you, Michelle. Go ahead and go on to that next slide. The district is in a 2-year strategic plan revision process, as I shared last year as we kicked off that 2-year process. We are looking ahead to 2040 when our current TK students will be graduating from high school. So preparing them now for that future in 2040. Next slide. At the end of this school year, we will have collectively defined a portrait of a learner as well as our strategic plan. The portrait of a learner talks about what do we want and defines what do we want our students to know, be able to do, and become. While the strategic plan is that plan to help bring our vision to reality. So both of those will be completed by the end of this school year. And today, as well as a subsequent email from me, is an invitation to all of you and our community to be a part of that process. There will be a guiding coalition that will be formed that will meet over 3 weekends to pull together some of this information. And there will be opportunities for interviews from alumni and prior and existing community members who want to just talk about what's our vision for Lemon Grove Schools in 2040. So I invite all of you to be a part of that process as we wrap up our strategic planning this school year. Next slide. As we turn to focus exclusively on the 26-27 school year, in June, the Lemon Grove Board of Trustees adopted these priorities for 26-27. Number 1, student learning and achievement. Number 2, fiscal sustainability and enrollment. And number 3, safe and inclusive learning environments. Next slide. As it relates to the board priority around stabilizing and increasing enrollment, we continue to strengthen our academic programs. As we know, families have a choice on where to send their children to school, and we want families to choose Lemon Grove. We've also been streamlining our enrollment process, and so for anyone listening in, we have dedicated enrollment specialists at the district office working every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Come walk on in. We're ready to help you get enrolled in our schools. We also want to share the amazing work happening. And so we've been focused on some district marketing. And in a little bit, I'll share a video that we've created. And we'll wrap up today talking about the improvements on our facilities. So next slide, let's see if we can get that video going. Here's a little bit about Lemon Grove School.
Every student is meant to shine, and here they do. Welcome to Lemon Grove School District.
From preschool through 8th grade, every student is known, valued, and celebrated.
This is a place where students explore, create, and lead with joy.
Where we embrace academics, the arts, innovation, and inclusion every step of the way.
We are loved for who we are, and we are part of a big family. Somos parte de una gran familia.
And parents are a part of that big family, playing a vital role as much as the students, teachers, and staff.
Because when we work as one, learners are better equipped to be the leaders of tomorrow.
We're taught that our dreams are possible if we just show up and do our best.
We're closing the achievement gap, and we're opening doors for every learner to reach their full potential.
And by gaining the gift of bilingualism, learners are building bridges across languages and cultures.
At Lemon Grove School District, more students are finding their voice and confidence.
And for those of us who have English as our first language, we can learn Spanish, opening a world of possibilities.
Lemon Grove is proud to lead with equity, ensuring all students have the opportunity to thrive.
And at Lemon Grove School District, students aren't the only ones thriving. Teachers are valued, supported, and encouraged to be learners themselves.
In Lemon Grove, we believe in every child's potential, because when our students succeed, our community becomes a better place.
We are diverse,
Unique, inquisitive,
compassionate,
resilient,
limitless.
We are Lemon Grove School District.
Coming on our schools as well. And so with our next slide, as we continue to work on building a world-class education and world-class facilities, it's my pleasure to introduce our Director of Facilities, Mr. Carlos Avalos, who's going to talk about the amazing work happening this summer and this past year at our school.
Thank you, Ms. Nixon. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to share with you some of the work that we've done over this past school year and throughout the summer. Slide. So we've been focused on making sure that we touch every single school site when we do our projects so that every student gets to benefit from better facilities. So we focused on asphalt projects district-wide, exterior painting district-wide, skylight replacement and repairs district-wide. And lastly, during the summer, we did a field renovation project over at Monterey Heights, which included 2 brand new fields with state-of-the-art new irrigation system. Here you can see some of the some of the pictures you can see on the top right, some of the skylights that are being replaced on Mount Vernon. We resealed exterior windows over at Mount Vernon as well. And in the middle, you can see there the big bulldozer is doing a lot of the earthwork and groundwork in preparation for that field, removing dirt, bringing in brand new, clean dirt to be able to sustain the new sod and grass and support the growth of the new field for years to come. And on the bottom left, you can see the brand new asphalt that was overlaid at the Monterey campus. The striping will be happening this Thursday and Friday, so you'll be able to see all of the beautiful colors that come with that. So as I mentioned, we do focus on touching every single campus when we do our projects and planning. So here in the middle, you can see some of those colors in one of our indoor playgrounds on the new asphalt seal. I'm excited to share that our very own maintenance team has been working this summer on installing brand new bottle filling stations. And part of some donations that we received as well. So every school site and every student will have access to clean, fresh water near their lunch areas. We've also upgraded the NPR in Mount Vernon. We redid the ceiling. We had old tiles that were just staying, falling down, and we wanted to give it a fresh new look with the new HVAC system that we also installed in that NPR. So that NPR now has a brand new AC system and a brand new ceiling as well. And it's a little bit hard to see, but the bottom right, you can see our top field over at Monterey Heights. That's the brand new sod that was laid over. So it's a beautiful, beautiful picture. Sucks that you can't really see it. Along with some of the other projects that we've done is, we also upgraded the gas line over at Mount Vernon, and that feeds our HVAC systems for the admin and 19 classrooms, or four buildings at that school site. And we've also been focusing on safety as well. So we've also completed the exterior lighting fixture replacement at all of our school sites. The last one remaining were Vista La Mesa that needed to be finished off. Monterey Heights, at LGAE and LGAM all has brand new canopy LED lighting. Well,
Let's see. Let's try it again.
okay. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So some of the other projects that we've been completing this summer is roof restoration and replacement of 3 of our campuses, and we have 2 more to go after that. So this summer, LGAN is getting the new roof. Vista La Mesa and San Miguel will have all new roofs, and again, that's to provide nice, clean learning spaces for our students and staff. Our own grounds team as well renovated the garden over at LGAE for beautification of the campus as well. And then over at the Childhood Education Center, I know it's a brand new campus, but we are working on completing the artificial turf on some of the sandboxes that were there at that campus. Slide. With that, thank you.
Happy to take any comments or questions.
Okay, great job. Great presentation for us. We've heard about all the wonderful work as board members. It's great to see it presented. I know you made the promise and you delivered clearly. So thank you. You guys have been very busy. I'd like to open it up to the board members, see if they have comments and questions. Just kind of signal with your hand and I'll call on you here. Trustee Graciano.
When the students come back to Monterey Heights, it would be nice, like on that first day, to do like video, because I would love to see all of their faces, because it looks like a completely new facility. And I know that's something that all the kids wanted, like having grad as opposed to all the gravel that we had before. So I'm pretty sure that those videos are gonna be like all lit up when they show up. So, capture that somehow. Absolutely. I was over there last week and I wanted to roll around on the grass. So I told Principal Turner, make sure you get pictures of the kids rolling around and video of kids rolling around on the grass. So we'll make sure to send those out once she sends them our way.
Board members, before we turn it over to the city, if they have questions or comments. Trustee Dr. Allen?
Super quick, I just want to say thank you. Just thank you guys, this is a ton of work to get done and love to see that, you know, the decisions from this board are coming out in real life fruition with all of these updates to the campuses, both aesthetically and safety, which is absolutely number one. So thank you so much for all the work you put into it.
Absolutely. We're grateful to our community for approving our 2 bonds. So this is your bond dollars at work, and kudos to Carlos and Tiana Barton, our chief business official, who really make all the magic happen. So.
Trustee Smith?
And just to say a big thank you. I know when we had the discussion of the bonds first were being introduced to when they were voting in, we asked for the transparency, and if that was delivered as we went through the project. I would just also just say, I know we're not all done with the project, so any obstacles that we do come across, just let us know as soon as possible so we can make sure we complete projects. But thank you so much for all the hard work, especially during summer. It's been a hot summer.
Yes, I just want to echo again, you hit on something, Superintendent Vincent, about the economic development of the bonds. We appreciate the community coming forward, voting 2 bonds back to back. I know people are always skeptical about the financial impact those bonds can have, but you can see here very clearly that it's money that's well spent for our current learners and future learners, and very transparent about making sure that the money comes back to the community. So thank you for your leadership on that. So I'll turn it over now to the City Council, Mayor Snow, to take it away if you have questions or comments.
Thank you so much. I'll look to my council to see if there's any questions or comments. Councilmember Smith.
I was gonna ask if it was bond money or full district money or using both, but that question has been answered with bond money. So all I really want to say is just thank you for all the work, thank you for making it very apparent that those bond funds are going to pretty Crestwood District. It's good.
Councilmember Nicola.
Well, I just want to comment, it's a good thing I'm an early riser, because those roofers have been out there every day this summer working on that roof bright and early, and I really felt for those guys out in the hot sun, working on, I mean, that's a big school, and they have to touch every one down the line. I watch them every morning. And I just wanted to make a comment. I think it was like 14, 15 years ago, the city of Lemon Grove received a grant from Kaiser. Actually, we got it twice. We got the grant twice, for $1 million. And then when that ran out, we got another $1 million. And one of the first things, it was called a Healthy Eating Active Living Grant. And some of us are familiar with it, because we worked on it a little bit too. And one of the first things our committee did was put those water bottle filling stations in the schools. And so I'm really gratified that those are being replaced, because judging by the use of the kids with all their water bottles, I'm sure I love it when it says the number of these that have been kept out of the landfill. So I'm glad that the school district is continuing to make that priority. So thank you.
And Councilmember Alvarado.
You're doing a wonderful job, and it shows. Thank you for that. Some community members have asked, so they're curious as to what happened to the solar system over at Middle. If you can share with us.
Yeah, it's currently in storage. The old solar is in storage. The one that was at home is in storage. We can, I'll turn that over to our chief business official, Tiana. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Just to touch on the
solar panels from Old Palm. Really, we need to assess the technology. As we know, technology improves rapidly. So once we pull those out of storage, we will assess the capabilities and to see if there's any increases or technological advances that could benefit those before we put them anywhere, but we will definitely keep everybody posted.
Thank you so much. I believe at one point we learned that the cost of that system was around $1 million. It's pretty costly. So it would be good if we could get some use out of it, even though you're right, technology advances very fast.
Yeah, it predates both Tiana and I's tenure in the district, so we'll look into.
Mayor Pro Tem Hardy.
I don't have any questions, but great job. I love seeing funds go to exactly what they were intended for in a quickly expedient manner, and it looks beautiful. So, good.
I'd love to give you the opportunity to talk more about how you've closed the education gaps. Last year was really impressive, and I'd love to hear how it's going now.
Yeah, so we're super proud. We closed the achievement gap for our African American students have closed the achievement gap in reading. And that has been consistent for the last 3 years. They're scoring at or above all students in reading and narrowing that gap in mathematics. We've also made significant progress with our multilingual learners, tripling that reclassification rate and seeing that rate continue to maintain at a high level with last year's data. So we're on an upward trajectory, still not where we want to be, but making great growth and celebrating the genius of all of our learners. And kudos to our hardworking teachers in the classroom and our principals that really made the magic happen.
Excellent. And then on the education side, is there more that we as a city could do to help support the students or any additional efforts that you might, like I had the 4th graders come into my office and they brought me a stack of letters and they were asking and pleading for trees and grass, and especially the Monterey Heights kids. So you guys delivered. So good job. But are there more ways that we can collaborate and support those education efforts?
Yeah, so we appreciate that. I think our ongoing collaboration as we have now, been working really closely with interim city manager Tony Winnie on all of the projects. We know that everything we do across our schools, whether it's our facilities, our fields, all of that helps support in the instruction in the classroom and just making sure kids have a good experience when they come to school. So really appreciate our existing collaborations. And I'm sure if any of you are open to having kids write you letters and all that stuff, I'm happy to share that with our teachers and have them communicate and learn from you as we are preparing tomorrow's leaders, workers, and citizens. Maybe one of them is a future city council member, mayor, city manager. And so getting our kids exposed to your work would be just a wonderful opportunity for them to learn about their community.
Yeah, I think all of us would be down for lunch with a legislator. So
okay, I like it.
So we really appreciate the collaboration. Thank you for creating a safe space for our kids to be able to learn and grow. I commend you on your efforts to close the gaps in education that we have. Along those lines, how is enrollment going and what does that look like?
Yeah, so we've been working on enrollment stabilization with the goal of increasing enrollment. So at this time a year ago, we'd actually had the greatest success when we kicked off the then 25-26 school year. We only lost 12 students. So we were basically right at that stabilization. After the start of the school year, we did see enrollment decline some, which we've not had previously. We don't know if that's what was happening in the community nationally with families potentially relocating. So we are gearing back up just to share the good work happening in Lemon Grove schools because we can't control all external factors. We can only control things within our control. And so just really wanting to share with families both in and outside of our district the good and amazing work happening in our schools. So get the word out, enroll your kids in Lemon Grove. We'll take all your babies. The Early Childhood Education Center is an absolutely gorgeous facility. But even more importantly, what's happening in the classrooms is just gold. So yeah.
And does I I think you have, the TK program has a Spanish immersion component. Does the pre-K also have that as well?
Yep, we have a pre-K-8 dual immersion program, continuum. Three campuses, one program. ECEC for pre-K, TK, Mount Vernon for K-6, and the middle school has a dual immersion pathway for students to continue their biliteracy as they head off after middle school and high school.
That's wonderful. Yeah, be sure to share that. I'll spread the news and stuff because that's a huge advantage to people that have kids, be able to speak both languages. Thank you so much for that programming. And we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Snow. And I'll move on to the next item, 2B, City of Lemon Grove overview, interim city manager appointee. Will provide a brief overview of the progress and initiatives of the city of Lemon Grove.
All right, thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Next slide, please. So the City Council just recently in May adopted their strategic plan goals for the coming year. And I've selected just a few of those to share with the board and the council this evening. One of those is taking a larger look at our 2 lighting districts here in the city and creating a future funding plan for those districts in order for us to make sure that they're appropriately funded, and then looking at opportunities for additional lighting in other locations throughout the community. So we're going to be engaging in that work this coming year. But I did want to share with everyone that we have another project that's currently underway, which is installation of our first set of solar lights in the community, which will be located on Main Street. So they'll run from Broadway to Central, and they'll be installed. So City Council approved those lights a few months ago. There's an example of one of those lights in the frame there. And we're really excited to see how those are going to work and potentially roll those out in other locations if that's a successful pilot project. Another strategic plan goal for the year is taking a look at sidewalks and installing new sidewalks in different locations throughout the community. So there's a couple of different locations that we're focused on specifically. One is in front of Berry Street Park on Mount Vernon, and then also Lemon Grove Park as well, Washington and Alton. We are currently in the process of creating designs for those sidewalks. And of course, one of the things that we've been faced with is trying to do outreach to the community for securing the right of way in some locations where the city does not own that right of way, and there's existing improvements already on those properties. So we're working with those property owners to see if they're willing to dedicate some right of way to make those sidewalks happen. Another big strategic plan goal for the coming year is focused on economic development. So we will be conducting an economic development study that'll be taking a look at what types of businesses do we want to actually try and have located here within the city. And so how do we get them here? Who are we engaging with? And then also providing marketing materials and attending events and having stakeholder meetings so that we can get a better idea of what will drive that economic development and growth here in our community. We're also going to be focused on developing a revolving loan program. So this will be a program available to local businesses. We're partnering with the East County Economic Development Council to develop this program currently. And we're going to be partnering also with the other cities within East County and possibly the county of San Diego to create a pool of about $800,000 in funds that will then be made available to local businesses to support business advising activities as well as small business loans. So more to come on that goal as well. And then finally, I wanted to mention one of our goals for the coming year is reactivating the recreation center next door and also our senior center. So there's going to be a lot more to come on both of those locations. Next slide, please. So I wanted to provide a quick update on some various city initiatives that are currently underway. As Crystal had mentioned earlier, we have $200,000 that the City Council had allocated to improvements to the recreation center. If you've been over there recently, there's a lot of deferred maintenance that needs to be addressed. And so we're creating a scope currently in partnership with some of the folks that utilize that facility. So we reached out to the school district and they're talking to Mary Ellen and her team in terms of some improvements that might be needed over there, as well as Mark facility as well. So after we go through development of the scope, we'll be going out and issuing our RFP probably September and October. And then depending upon the pricing that we get back on those improvements to the facility, we also might look for additional funding opportunities elsewhere, whether it be grants or other funding streams to make those improvements happen. So we're very excited about making that move forward this coming year. So more to come on that. We're also engaging in conversation with the school district in terms of ongoing maintenance responsibilities as it pertains to that facility, to make sure that we all know who is responsible for what. And it's a conversation that I think has been overdue. And so we actually met this week to start talking about not only coordinating custodial, but then ongoing maintenance as well. So I thank the school district for engaging in that conversation with us. And then just a couple of weeks ago, the city council had voted on renaming the recreation center in honor of our former city council member, Steve Bye. So that was a fantastic council meeting where we had folks in the community come out and attest to Steve's involvement in the community. He was obviously a very beloved figure here in Lemon Grove. So we'll be moving forward with placement of a plaque within the recreation center in his name, and then also placing new lettering on the exterior of the facility, as well as some landscaping improvements that were also requested. Keep an eye out for that in the coming months. We are currently also in the midst of a downtown specific plan update. If you haven't heard about it already, our downtown specific plan that's currently in place was developed in 2005. And so obviously there's been lots and lots of changes in the downtown area since that initial plan was adopted. And so we are taking a closer look at what might be required to develop a broader vision of what might occur in the downtown. And some of the consistent concepts that we've been exploring through our public engagement process is additional walkability throughout the downtown, more public gathering spaces, how we can support our existing businesses down there. Of course, how we can also provide economic development initiatives to help fill some of the vacant spaces that are in the downtown area. And of course, looking at our zoning and planning, trying to make developing much more intuitive and supporting that effort, adding strategic housing and other housing options within the downtown so that folks can then walk and have access to all of our local businesses without having to get in their cars. So if you haven't had the opportunity to check out the plan website, you can go to the city's website. We've got lots of information on that plan update, and we'll be issuing the draft plan within the next month to share with the community. And then we'll be going out for phase 2 of our public outreach and soliciting additional feedback from the community. And then finally, wanted to talk a little bit about an initiative that we're working with Mariana and her team on, which is the removal of the red curb that was on Mercury Street. So most of Mercury by the school was previously red curbed, and it come to our attention that the community really wanted access to some of the parking that was there on that street. So we spoke with Mariana and her team about trying to remove some of that curb, and so we've it's now removed all except for a single length of a bus so that they can have access when they are serving the school. So hopefully that's opened up parking within the community, and I think the feedback's been very positive. So next slide. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Madera Street Improvement Project. So this project is going to take a closer look at how we can introduce different street calming initiatives on Madera Street. So it's from 69th Street to Massachusetts. This has been in the works for quite some time, so we're really excited to move this forward. We're just approved a contract with a consultant to begin that work. So part of that is going to be development of a design concept, and then we'll be reaching out and holding stakeholder meetings with the community. And of course, we are hoping to locate one of those workshops at the school as well, so that we can make sure that we're listening to the folks in the neighborhood. And then after we solicit public input, we would move forward with creating design plans and support of trying to introduce traffic calming initiatives to reduce the number of collisions and making it just a safer space for both motorists and pedestrians and bicyclists. So we'll be moving forward with that, and public outreach will start in late August. Next slide. And then one thing everyone is always very excited about is repaving of our local roads and streets. So annually we go out and solicit RFP to do this work. We'll be repaving 64 different streets starting in late August and early September. So San Miguel and Mount Vernon are included on that rehab schedule, and a list of all of those 64 streets are located on the city's website. So the rehab of the streets near the schools will occur in October 12th during closure for the fall holiday break. So hopefully that won't be too distracting for the students and parents there. One thing I also wanted to mention that is I didn't have time to put on a slide, which is we also went out today. So our public works crews actually went out and did my first ride along with our public works crews today, and we did potholing repair around on Mount Vernon around the school. So trying to get that repaired for the start of school. So if you see all those potholes filled and you see our public works crews out there, please thank them for the work. It was definitely hot and tough work, but it was good to see them. And they were also repairing the street stenciling that's on the streets. So where it says school buses slow. So those are all new, as well as the crosswalks. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is the replacement of the restrooms at Lemon Grove Park. So that is currently underway. Those restrooms have been demolished. And so we were out there grading the pad earlier this morning in preparation of delivery of the modular restroom, which will be taking place on August 17th. So we'll have a brand new restroom for all the users of the plant. Next slide. And then finally, I wanted to mention the Rise Above program. So this is a program that the Sheriff's Department is putting on, which will begin in September and run through November 5th. So it's a free 8-week youth program, so geared towards kids ages 9 to 12. And really trying to teach them different resiliency, leadership, and positive decision-making skills. This is a relatively new program, but they'll have different topics from week to week, including gang prevention, human traffic awareness, sports activities, and substance awareness as well. Parents are required to attend the program, but the topics should be interesting enough for both kids and the parents. So keep an eye out for that. We are still working with the Sheriff's Department to determine the appropriate location for the program to take place, but we'll start in September. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments that the board or council may have.
Mayor Snow, would you like to start on your side, and we'll move on to the school board afterwards?
Sounds great, thank you. Sorry. I'll look to my council and see if anybody has any questions or comments. Councilmember Sotio. Councilmember Alvarado.
First to the RISE program, the Sheriff's program, Rise Above. Do we have an update on the grant application for the Respect program?
Lieutenant, have you heard anything more from the grant? We submitted the grant. I don't think that we've heard back whether we've actually been awarded. I think we should hear back on next month.
Can you share a little bit about what that grant is for and what the Respect program is about?
Thank you. So the Respect Project, we currently have Respect Project in North County, so it's out of San Marcos. So what that is, it's for children, I believe 12 to 18. And that's more of a 16-week program. So what they do is, it's kind of similar to the Rise Above, but it's more in depth. So it's geared more towards mentorship, decision-making, positive choices, bringing people from the community in, helping to mentor the children, provide them with a good career path for once they graduate high school. So now that we have the Respect Project in North County, we're attempting to bring a Respect Project to South County and implement it in the city of Lemon Grove. You're welcome.
Mayor Pro Tem Herdia. Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, so. So because the Madera Street movements are right next to the San Altos, we really gonna do a lot of public outreach. And I don't think we heard a whole lot about coordination with the school district, because that street is right up against the San Altos school, and what are we doing as far as that coordination and access for students walking, or do we need to provide bus travel, or what are we doing to coordinate that?
So we'll be reaching out to Mariana and having conversations about them participating in this, to make sure that all of their considerations are taken into account as we're developing the traffic calming initiatives.
That's the only question I have at the moment. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Herdia.
Can you go back to the potholes that you built today? Was that San Miguel?
On Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon. And I just wanted to say thank you to my colleagues and to the interim city manager. The choices that we're making for the improvements near the schools is so important, so valued for parks and all that. It's really great. I'm happy to see it all kind of coming together at one time.
One of the things I wanted to follow up on was the downtown specific plan. And what efforts have we done to outreach to the school district? I know I've seen trustee Gastelum at some of the meetings, but I'm not sure we've had a lot of input from the school side. So I want to make sure that we're doing an adequate job, because we've got Lemon Grove Academy is right there in the middle of all of it. So we want to make sure we're doing an adequate job there.
We'll be sure to include them in that ongoing conversation. And I can share some additional information with Mariana that you can distribute to the board as well.
And then to piggyback off Mayor Pro Tem Herdia, we are really trying to improve the areas around schools. We've put that as a clear priority when we're establishing where we're going to do road work and infrastructure improvements. One of the things that I find frustrating as a mom and grandma is the lack of sidewalks. One of the things that we've confronted and our interim city manager touched on is getting cooperation to get access to the rights of way. So some of the homeowners don't want to give up a right of way that's on their current property to be able to do that. I would love if the school district could help campaign around the communities and let people know how important it is for their kids to be able to walk to and from school safely. We need all hands on deck on this, because especially on San Miguel, it's a very busy street. There's a lot of traffic on that street. Same thing with Madera. Madera actually has better sidewalks than San Miguel does. But San Miguel, there's whole stretches where there is no sidewalk. It's really not safe for our kids to be walking through there. And we need the cooperation of the families that are and the residents that are living around there. So I think if an 8th grader or an 8-year-old came to my house and was like, please, can I have a sidewalk? It might melt my heart. So anything to do from your guys' end would be amazing, to really help campaign together for those sidewalks and those improvements. And then I also wanted to shout out, in addition to the Respect program and the Rise Above program, we also have a community-based work program called the Cal Violence Intervention Program. And a number of our different Lemon Grove community-based organizations were able to obtain a grant to help intervene with anti-violence measures to help reclaim our kids. So that involves quite a few community-based organizations, and we're really excited that all these different groups are coming together to be able to help keep our kids safe and entertained and in productive paths. I'll go back to Councilmember Altamirano.
Thank you. I currently volunteer in a girls softball league and in neighboring cities, and specifically Lemesa, Lemon Grove, and National City. And some of the cities collaborate with the school districts to allow the public to use their facilities, their fields. And I would like to see that here as well. And I understand there are some liability issues, but the community really needs open spaces. We need to have access to as many fields as possible. And with the investment now on the lawns and new fields, I feel that this would be a great opportunity to give back to the community. So if my council and the board would keep that in consideration, I'm sure the community would be grateful.
Any further questions or comments? All right, we'll turn it over to the school board.
And thank you, Mayor Snow. I'll open it up to our board members if they have any questions. Trustee Preciado.
Thank you so much for, and, while Mayor Snow was talking and, back when I was the parent volunteer coordinator at Monterey Heights, we used to have or celebrate National Walk and Roll to School Day. This year is scheduled for October 7th, so maybe that would be a great day to collaborate and kick off, you know, like what to look for in the streets and kind of like, you know, like a first introduction to the community in regards to like sidewalks. And it would be like a great collaboration. I know it happens like super soon, like right after school starts. And maybe short notice, but that could be something we could consider, because I also think about that all the time, you know, like I live super close to Monterey Heights. And even walking there, even though we have the sidewalks in that one, so I can't even imagine what it's like when they have to walk and they don't have the sidewalks, because that was me when I was an 8-year-old walking all the way to San Miguel, and you just kind of have to be like, hope you're okay. And we don't want that for our kids. We want to make sure they're safe. So I think that would be a great introduction to collaborating and working on sidewalks.
Thank you, Trustee Preciado. Trustee Castro.
Hi there. I'm probably the one who attends the most city meetings over on this side of the room. And I'm very grateful to see a lot of the changes and upgrades that we have going on to the city. One of the things that I think I would like to see on maybe like a volunteer basis when the weather is cooler is maybe organizing like a little bit of a walk where we see our kids have to take various paths and shortcuts through our city to some of our schools, because we have actually a very large amount of students that take shortcut paths. And maybe like get an evaluation of those done so we have a better idea of the safety of the area that kids are walking through. I know that on solo volunteer cleanup things that I do, that sometimes I come across different things that needles or various trash, and maybe we can help organize parents at the various schools as well to try to clean up those areas. But if we have an assessment, it might give us an idea of where we can talk to either Eagle Scout groups to maybe add in a little more asphalt or something that happens, because some of them are walking on dirt trails and things, and there's rain, there's weather, just to make things a little bit safer for our kids.
Thank you, Trustee. Is there anyone else? What's your thought?
You're welcome. Thank you for the update. It's great to see the amount of energy that's been happening in the city recently. I'm just going to share some ideas that popped up as I was reviewing your slides, and just in my nature to dream big. As we continue to look at our developments for downtown, as well as we start creating these sidewalks, I would ask for potential bikeable pathways. I envision Lemon Grove as a place where people can walk freely, as well as just being able to bike from location to location. I've spoken to our city and board collaboration committee, and I said, you know, if I could envision like a yellow brick road, because the more that we develop the city, the more families are going to be outside. And I could see some of this energy with like the movies in the park that we've just had. And I am seeing a lot more kids out with their bikes. So we have some movement in that area, but yeah, a bikeable pathway alongside
a walking community would be wonderful. And then this just popped up. I know we've got a lot of festivals that are starting to develop as well. And we are different than our neighbor, La Mesa, but we have our own magic here. But Food Truck Fridays, that came up into my mind because that would help support some of our businesses in the food truck area. And then just for the folks who do live next to our cities, just be aware of our school schedule and just be that supporting eye as they launch our Children Walk Home. We had some great community and support this past school year when we had some safety concerns arise, and just the amount of extra eyes that we had on our corners just made our students feel that much safer, as well as how quickly our parents felt at ease that we were on top of that. But those three things, Bike to Pathways, Food Truck Fridays, and just awareness of our school release schedule.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Trustee Tortorella.
Yeah, I'd like to echo, thank you so much for the presentation and all of the information. It's great to get these updates from you guys. Just a couple of quick questions. One, I know that you talked about, Tony, the loan program for local businesses. There was a part at the end where you added small businesses, but I guess my question is, for that loan program, are you guys planning to gear it specifically towards small businesses, or is it going to be open for developers, or what exactly does that look like for that loan program?
Yeah, so we're still in the process of developing the loan program guidelines with those other East County cities in the county. But yes, the focus is on small businesses, local businesses.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate the sidewalk and the streets updates. Those are incredible. My youngest goes to San Altos, and it's hard out there. It's hard out there for us and for my car. So definitely appreciate that. I want to just kind of echo what Seth mentioned, and just ensuring that the district is identified as a key stakeholder in those conversations, so that we can be proactive with you guys and work collaboratively with you guys around what that looks like, and get the support and the opinions and the concerns and the praises from our families who are impacted every day. Kind of branching off of what Trustee Smith mentioned, to the point of the sidewalks and the streets and being mindful of our school schedules. It can get a little rough out there also with all the work being done. As you see, we made a lot of improvements with our facilities and did it in a very intentional way over the summer so that there's less disruption. So just those sorts of things to keep in mind, which again, if the district is taken into consideration as a key stakeholder for those conversations, then those are just things we can do. And I actually just had one last question, and my last question was actually about the Rise Above Partnership Program. I see that, I think it's a great program. I see that it says that there's weekly sessions from September 17th to November 5th, held from 6 to 7:30. Is there a day of the week for that? Like a specific day?
Those are Thursdays.
Thursdays? 5 days a week? Oh, I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah, they're on Thursdays, but for those consecutive weeks.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful questions. Quick, with the cost of gasoline going up and up, I've seen a lot more EVs around town. I don't know if I'm seeing them or if there's more people consolidating, probably, getting rid of a gas vehicle and maybe my for EV, who knows, but I'm curious about charging stations. I noticed that, at least when I go to different charging stations, there's a whole ecosystem around them. There's shops, there's stores. People have the writing, the writings on the wall that if you have a charging station, there's going to be a whole economic development component that goes with a charging station. So I'm curious what the plans are for charging stations, maybe to offload some cost for some of our families if they have EVs.
Yeah, so I can share with you what we're doing from the city's perspective in terms of our own fleet. So we've been in talks with Helix Water, who just recently went through an upgrade of the charging infrastructure required for their fleet to go largely electric. So we were talking with them just within the last couple of weeks. So we'll be getting together with them to see exactly what funding opportunities are available. Because there are a number of grant funds out there available for that charging infrastructure. And as part of that, we're going to take a look and see if there's any grants also available for charging stations within community. If we were to place them in public parks or other locations that would be available, how that would be structured and how we would support. So if there's funding available out there, then we'll take a closer look at how we might integrate that.
Yeah. And I just wanted to shout out, it's not a city project, but we were working on the permitting for it. But Iona is building a charging station in Albert's parking lot. So there's currently one piece of construction out there. That's what they'll be working on, is the Iona charging station. So that's everything that's not a Tesla. So that's coming soon. So thank you.
Okay.
We're hopefully more of those mentors there.
Thanks for the update, Mayor. Yes,
Matt, might I add something to that? Just in the California Building Code currently, we will have some naturally occurring electric vehicle chargers, because if you're over a certain number of parking spaces, you become under commercial development, you become required to put them in just by the California Building Code. So some of that will just happen naturally.
Thank you. And in terms of the, I know you're developing your criteria for the $800,000 revolving loan fund. Is there a discussion about what types of businesses the city wants to bring in? I know there's small, medium sized, but just like, is there discussion on what that could look like? You know, many of our parents have multiple side hustles. You know, is it something that they would be eligible if they wanted to do startup? So I'm just kind of curious, since you're in the development stage, is there a carve out for some of our families to be more entrepreneurial around that?
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far in the program guideline development yet. We'll have to get agreement with those other cities in the county as well. But I know it's going to be focused on local businesses, how small those businesses could be. I'm not exactly sure yet, but once we have those developed, then we are happy to share those with the board so we can get notice out to the community and make sure that the business community knows that they're available.
Thank you.
To build off what the interim city manager was explaining, when this program was developed, it was really meant to fill the gap where small businesses can't get loans. So really, it's really difficult to get a loan within your first 2 years. And so this program was originally designed to help fill those gaps for people who can't receive traditional funding. So we may not have said like what specific types of organizations we're doing, but that's something that the intention of the program when we were approving these and moving it forward, that's where it was. And the exciting news is it's almost done. I think the estimated date that this will be open and out to the public from the East County Economic Development Council is September. So it is literally right around the corner. And it can't come too soon for our small businesses. I've had a number of them reach out to us and say help. And so we want to make sure that our businesses survive during these tough economic times. And while they try to, it's a lot of adjustment. Expenses have gone up, costs have gone up, and they're having to move and pivot to be still productive, and they just need a little help to get over that. So we're not only like working on that revolving loan fund, but we're meeting with the city manager and I have a meeting this week to meet with the Economic Development Council president to sit down and really talk about things that we could do in Lemon Grove to help support these businesses in a more effective and stronger way. So more to come.
Thank you. And I know we're kind of set on time, but just wanted to keep this on the radar. A couple of years, we talked about doing a college town idea, which and things, folks have changed, but essentially we're higher education desert in Lemon Grove. We don't have a lot of, higher education. Folks have to drive 20, 30 minutes, with gas prices, their opportunities are limited, or maybe they online. So it'd be good to keep that on the radar, see if there's higher, at least in Red, for example, a local college in Santee closing up and leaving, but maybe perhaps Lemon Grove could be the place for them. Because Santee is not that far, but it is a commute for people who want to go pursue higher education over there, so. So I hope that the city continues to at least consider the college town concept we talked about a couple years ago, so.
And I think that it's really imperative that that part comes into the downtown specific plan conversation. Right now is the time. It's not too late, but it's definitely not too soon to like try and get out. Reach out directly to the city manager. We've had a number of community sessions. We're actually starting, or maybe you have started, phase 2. And so the input time is right now because we're formulating the plan. We have to have this plan done by December. So please get us your notes and points on there as soon as possible. I love that idea. We also, on Friday, we'll have the ironworkers having their grand opening of their new Union Halls, the old 13 Point Brewery, 1 o'clock on Friday. And we also have at the other end of town, the Painters Union. And so in addition to higher education, bringing in trades as making this a place to come and study for trades as well. I love it.
Great, thank you. We'll make sure we add it. And I want to commend the city for working with iron workers because they are, they have lots of union jobs that pay really well. And I've noticed over the last couple of years, even the cosmetology school next to US Bank coming in. So we have the trades coming in. We just, need to build on that momentum to see who else we can bring in that offers post-secondary education along with the trades. So thank you for keeping that on the radar. Not seeing any other questions or comments. I know we still have some other agenda items. Move on to 2C, Lemon Grove School District field use.
Thank you, Dr. Ayala. I'll actually bring back up our Chief Business Official, Tiana Barton, to kick off the presentation.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. So I know later this evening, we're gonna have a presentation on the rec center. So my presentation on the facilities use and field use really is more so on the outdoor spaces. And many people know that the rec center is a joint use space where the building belongs to the city and the land itself is owned by the district. And we heard earlier from community members about the activities that go on in those spaces. So tonight I'm going to be talking about the field where it's like a diamond for the baseball and softball clubs. And then also some of the other use areas, which is like the blacktop and the grassy area behind the rec center. So tonight's presentation is really focused specifically on community use of the district's outdoor fields and spaces. We're also going to talk about how requests are made, how they're processed, and some of the operational considerations associated with these community use spaces. One important distinction that I wanted to mention is that there's really 2 different types of community field use occurring currently. The first one is field rentals, where organizations reserve the diamond field I was talking about and pay an actual fee to utilize those fields. And the second is what we've traditionally referred to as like an open use or free use type of outdoor space. So such as the grass field behind the rec center, the blacktops where you'll see a lot of the volleyball and all the different activities going on there. And while encouraged to submit a facility use request so the district knows who is on district property at that time, historically there has not been a rental fee for that space there. And I'm sorry,
We're having some technical issues with the presentation. However, I believe all board members and city council members have a copy of the presentation. And for everyone in the room, it is in the back of the room, the slides. So we all have them in front of us.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that the rec center slides? That's all I have.
So that's one paper.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have
it. four slides. So, as I was mentioning, there's really primarily two types of community use of the outdoor spaces. One which a fee is associated and, the others where currently there's not a fee associated. So I'm actually going to invite our Director of Facilities Maintenance Operations up to just kind of walk us through and the community through what the process is for renting the Diamond baseball, softball fields. Carlos?
Thank you, Tiana. So the rental process, it's pretty straightforward. If somebody wants to rent the Diamond Field at the middle school, they would go to our district website, and then they would go to our maintenance webpage. And then from there, they would select facility use rental or request. And then right there, you'll get the form you'll be able to print it out, fill it out, and then you email it to our office, which then our office will review the form for make sure it's completed correctly, and then the availability of the dates and hours that you'd like to use that Diamond Field. Once that's confirmed that it is available, then you would receive an email response back saying that it's available. The approval letter with the fees schedule, the amount that you paid for, the days and hours that you want to use the field. And then you would also get the request for the insurance requirements based on the group or organization that you are with. And then we would then finally give you the final confirmation that you're on the calendar and your days are reserved for the days that you have requested. And I'll turn it back over to Tiana.
Thank you, Carlos. Normally I'd say next slide, but we're on the slide that says community field use. And so just going back to some of the different uses there, I know that as we continue to evaluate facility use as a whole for community members and district students, we also know there's a large interest in more space and accessing more space. And so just wanted to share that district staff are evaluating options for possible additional spaces aside from the LGAM location that's available right now. And so there's a couple of different things that go into those considerations when we expand opportunities like that. Sometimes there are challenges with relation to maintenance, upkeep and costs, lighting, different areas that we would want to make sure are covered and what areas, what hours can be accessible for community members to use that as well. So just wanted to acknowledge that that's been a long-standing request and conversation that to add more spaces or second location aside from the LGAM location, the middle school. So with that, tonight is just an informational item, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board members over here, any questions? Trustee Gaston.
And forgive me because I'm new. I didn't see what we're charging. What are the fees? What are the fees to rent the facilities? And I don't see where it says how much insurance is required.
Yes, so I'll actually ask Carlos to come up and talk about the exact fees, but all of the information as well is listed on our facilities maintenance webpage for anybody to be able to access and locate. But Carlos, can you discuss some of the current fees?
Yeah, so depending on the type of group that you are, whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, the nonprofit group gets charged a rate of $13.67 an hour, and then the hourly, and then the for-profit group is $17.08 an hour for the rental. And again, the fee schedule is on our district website for viewing. And then as far as the insurance requirements, it's a $1 million general liability insurance, naming the district as an additional insured.
Thank you. Any other questions from the school district? I will turn it over to Mayor Snow.
By way of background, I think it's good for the community to know too, not just for the fields, but for the rec centers, the fees associated with the rec center itself to rent is $60 an hour. And there's also a non-refundable $500 cleaning fee. So for anybody who wants to rent it, but I put those fees out there. And I don't think that there's any like different tiers. It's the same fee for everybody except for those who are grandfathered in. And I'll look to my council members to see if they have any questions or concerns. Councilmember Mendoza?
So did you say that no other fields are available for rental except the middle school field at this point?
Currently, but we are close to being able to come up with a second location to possibly open up sometime within this upcoming school year, so 26.
Okay, which, can I ask which school site, or is that a secret?
Yeah, not a secret. There, a full assessment of many of our school sites, but currently looking at Mount Vernon as a possibility. Mount Vernon is our dual immersion school site and it has quite a large field. It has some lighting, not as much as LGAM, the middle school. But ease of access, the parking lot, we've done a lot of new renovations at that school site as well. You heard earlier, all of the great work being done across the district. That asphalt is brand new for the playground and the parking lot. So just ensuring the most comfortable space to be able to open up as a second.
Great, thank you. You're welcome.
Mayor Pro Tem Heredia?
I just wanted to clarify, about the free use of the blacktop grass area and the reservations that were listed. How does that currently, is that currently happening? And if so, how do you do the submittal?
Yeah, so the preference and expectation would be for any groups that are utilizing any of that land, whether it's the diamond or whether it's the asphalt and grass area right behind rec center, to submit a request application. As mentioned, the only one that is being charged a fee right now is the diamond, but the preference is for the application to be submitted. Again, more so for the liability and the district knowing who is using and at what times that people are on the property.
So that's on the same part of the website, correct? Okay, thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
That. And then one other thing, as far as the second field that is possible that is being talked about, the speaker that we had, Joaquin, that was here with the soccer program. I think that field looks really excellent, most excellent for that area. So if we could maybe discuss something of that nature, I'd love to see more youth sports come to the area.
Yes, definitely up for discussion, as we heard many community members, including the soccer group, interested in a space like that.
Thank you.
Councilmember Altamirano?
Are there any plans? So now currently the field behind Palm Middle is not usable. Are there any plans to repair that soon? I know a few years back, we would play softball there. Different schools would play with the school that was renting that facility, and I feel that it is a wonderful space to use. A few years back as well, it was open to the community for neighbors to come and walk their dogs on that field. Would you be able to let us know if there's any plans on doing those repairs so that it can be used?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. We continually assess all of the locations, with Palm Middle being as one of the ones that we assess. And right now it's not useful, as you mentioned, primarily because a lot of the gopher holes are not safe. And while I don't currently have a timeline for being able to do those repairs, we'll definitely share that in the future when a timeline is out.
And I'm aware of some organizations out there that are willing to come do the repairs, they'll go for repairs themselves. Would that be a consideration if any organization says, we'll fix it, and then the school district has an opportunity to inspect it, and if it is approved, would that be a possibility as well?
The district always appreciates the community members and businesses that are out there that are willing to put forth, whether it's donated time and materials or for a lesser fee or whatever the case. There is a technical process to go through that. It is similar to like the bidding and RFP process. So I couldn't say that we would be open 100% to being able to make that happen, but we have had conversations before, and we've heard from certain groups that are interested and would like to donate their time, but it doesn't always work out in that way.
Thank you. That's what I was gonna ask a simple question. Well, looking at that Palm has an unused field there, and are we exploring that as one of our options? And sort of like was already said, are we open to, if that field is up for use, are we open to having somebody help do repairs in order to make sure that it can be used by the community? But I think that question got answered. As far as the cost, or I guess the rental of the diamond at Lemon Grove Middle is because that space is rented rather than the fields behind the rec center, and I'm wondering if that has a cost because of the lighting associated with it, or if there's another reason why that's rented and or has a cost to it.
Yeah, so historically, it has been that way, so I'm not sure if there's any additional context.
Yeah, it's our understanding, that's just how it historically has been. So historically, it's only been the diamond behind LGAM, the softball field that's been a pay for rental. And the others have no cost associated with them, so that it's something, you know, for the district to consider in the future as we look at cost of field use.
And just a little history on that. The field was not available to the public for use for many years. And then with the Heal Zone, we were able to get it open first on Saturday. And that was probably 13, 14 years ago, and then opened on Sunday. And the idea was not to bring organized activities, but there were walking groups and people were playing tennis, including former board members. And then COVID hit, and then everything shut down again. And then the current group that's using the field, that's when they came in and started activating it again. So that I think there were no charges because it wasn't open. And then when it did open, it was just sort of the agreement was that we were, there were school board members and city council members as part of the Heal Zone, and that was just sort of the agreement that we had with Mr. Anastas at the time. And the school board.
Thank you. That's consistent with my understanding too of the history. It was just a partnership between the city and the district and an interest in opening up the space similar to like a park space, right? So because the city opens and closes the gates on weekends, so that provides both opportunities and some challenges, that there are some differences in using a school facility versus a park, such as no pets on a school facility, whereas at a park people can bring their pets. Just provide some differences in the use for the community.
Yeah, and acknowledging that difference, my opinion on a school district landscape, that's where. But I'm one who would like to see us move towards just letting our community use our fields where we have them. We're a park-poor community. We don't really have a lot of places owned by the city where people can go and have recreation. And so where we can avoid charging for it, my preference is to avoid doing so, so that the access is there. And with especially because we have a group like community sports coming in, and that over the last 4 years, it's been a benefit both for recreation, for our families, for healthy, active living, and it brings business to our downtown, because when they have done when they get finished playing sports, they go into our downtown, they patronize our businesses. And in a similar vein, sort of, and echoing back to, our public comment, Waukeen's West, opening up for, where we can find a place to do it, doing youth soccer. And I was a youth soccer referee when I was in high school as well, so like it's something that I actually got to do when I was growing up and give back that way. So anytime we have a place to encourage that active, healthy living and bring families to Lemon Grove as a destination rather than as a drive-through, I'd like to see us work together to do that.
Just a couple of points. Okay, so, for the track area that's back there, it's a dirt track right now. And I've been inside the rec center, and so as the students come in their after school, there we go. As they come into the after school program, they track all the dirt into the facility. I would love to see that dirt track turned into something that's not dirt. And so that it will help be softer and safer for our kids to be running on. And then also it will help keep the maintenance of the rec center actually better. I also brought the concern in the rec center while the students are using it, we can't have those doors padlocked. And so the doors to the outside of the back side and to the back right-hand corner had chain links and padlocks on there. So in the event of fire, it's extremely dangerous. And so we want to make sure that those are kept safe. I know that that's on the to-do list of fixing things around there and everything, but we need to find an alternative to padlocking those. And then just echo the soccer sentiment. My kids have played Paradise Hills AYSO, AYSO in Spring Valley, and AYSO in La Mesa. And we haven't been able to play AYSO Lemon Grove because we don't have access to any soccer fields in our town. And as we know from our Lemon Grove Little League, we got some superstars in our community. And I think that we would not only be kind of a big deal in this baseball, softball world, but we could also shine in the soccer world too. But really, the only access to any soccer fields we have right now are locked up in the schools. So we'd love to see those opened up. All right, thank you.
Appreciate the feedback and comments.
Okay, the discussion, good feedback. I guess we are now moving to 3A action. So let me read this here. Lemon Grove School District in City of Lemon Grove, Recreation Center restrooms. Lemon Grove School District in City of Lemon Grove will discuss improvements to the rec center restrooms and determine the design.
Yes, thank you. Michelle will bring up the slides for the rec center in just a little bit. But the recreation center, as you know, has been a collaboration school district for many years. Next slide, as Tiana mentioned, the rec center is a joint use space. The building belongs to the city, the land belongs to the school district. And our use as a school district is typically Monday through Friday, about 6 to 6, so to speak. We have a expansive before and after school program that we refer to as ELP, or expanded learning program, that runs athletics, particularly basketball in the rec center in the December to April timeframe. Our middle school PE teachers also use the rec center. So kids are in there for various lessons that they might be teaching in inclement weather, kind of rain or shine. They'll be in there using the building. And of course, for special events such as our multicultural fair, we're in that kind of whole space. And then the city then has that time around us. So we're Monday through Friday, kind of 6 to 6. The city has weekends and nights for the most part. And so with that, knowing that's the joint use space, we've been working collaboratively on the recreation center bathroom project. So I'll bring back up Carlos Avalos to talk about our progress in that space and get us to a vote on the design.
Thank you, Mariana. So as Mariana mentioned, we've been working with the city collaboratively and had several meetings. You know, this started back at our last joint meeting, July of 2025. And since then, we've had several meetings with the city, going over some of the design aspects of the rec center and what we would like for it to look like. And also like to thank our architect firm, OBR, that partnered with us on this project to design it. You know, we have a couple of the follow-up items, agreement on the split of the cost. You know, initially we were, the approximate or estimated number was around 200,000. After some of the design considerations, and as we all know, escalation cost of construction, we're looking at approximately $260,000 to complete this project. And then I'll be discussing the design piece of it and as well the current construction and design schedule that put us through the completion of the project. Next. So here we have the two design options that were presented to us by the architect firm. Design option one really encompasses all of the murals that, you know, we as a district and the city are very proud to have throughout the campus of the middle school and like the library as well. So it's very colorful, you know, it's got your white subway tile, but it also has colorful tiles as well that kind of, you know, emphasizes on all the murals that we have throughout the campus. Option number two is that's a little bit more simplified option with just a couple colors. It's a lighter shade of green, but you know, when we take into consideration the design and all of our murals, I would say collaboratively we recommend option one to be considered. And I know that this is an action item, so we're here to ask the board and the city to make an action on this and decide which design you'd like to proceed with. Next slide. Here we have the tentative construction schedule. It is updated as of today. We got this from our design team. Once we make a decision on the design, we'll give that to the architect. They'll continue with their construction documents that will then put us into our DSA review, which is the Division of State Architect, which reviews and approves all of our building plans. That's about a 6-week process. Once we get the approved DSA plans, we will then do the bidding, which we approximate it to take about 8 weeks. And then once that is awarded, we would then start construction late 2026, and it's 8 weeks total for construction. And we plan to have the project completed early 2027. So with that, we get up for questions.
Go back.
And let's go back to the design options too. So Liz and I are open to question, comments.
Clarification today, we are voting on option one or option two, right? Okay, we'll do two rounds of votes to action. We'll vote as a board and the city will vote as well. So open up for questions from the school board first. Trustee Smith.
Hi, Carlos. I thank you for giving us the budget that you're working with. Regarding between option one and option two, is there a difference in price based off of which option we choose?
No, it's just the color of the tile.
Board members, Trustee Castle.
With the designs, what I don't know or can see, is this design more for like child size or adult or middle, or what are we like? Do a kid's bathroom and you've got a long one to go down, or a sink's too tall for a child, or like what are the schematics that we're like size of body we're going?
Yeah, so we are keeping it the same size, so it's for the older students and adults. The design or the project itself will gut the entire restroom, but we will have the same amount of fixtures, the same amount of toilets and urinals. They'll stay in the same place just because of the plumbing infrastructure that's there, but everything else will be new and it'll be the size for, you'd say adults. It's got your 16.5 to 17-inch toilets, which is the bigger size.
And with that, you go onto some of the school campuses or some of that bathroom right now, and those stalls are not quite as private as we think they are, very large gaps and things like that, like how much consideration are those things?
So, yeah, everything will be brought up to code, so the architect did, take all of that into account, and the partitions that were selected, you know, leave very minimal gap for privacy. But obviously there's always a little gap because the door still has to swing, but everything will be up to code.
Thank you.
Well,
Board members, any other questions? I don't see. I think you sort of answered this question, but just so option 1 and option 2 have the same number of toilet stalls, so there's really no difference besides the artistic component to it, right? Is that right? Okay, got it. Board member, trustee Smith.
I just wanna bring up some of the little things that might be important to some of the community members. Water pressure, hot water, cold water, those things are addressed.
yes, so I'm working with the engineers. We are making sure that we do have hot and cold water in there, so there will be, hot, water heaters installed. And the water pressure will also be, tested and make sure that it's at the minimum rate.
Sorry, one more that we do know. Are we supplying paper towels? Is that gonna be an additional cost moving forward, or are we going more with like air dryers?
So currently, we do have paper towels in the design, so they're built into the project.
Thank you.
I'm glad you asked a question about cost, trustee Smith. So right now, that sounds like the city has carved out 200,000 within their budget. And the total cost is gonna be around like 260,000. So that's to get it done. Do we have an agreement on ongoing costs down the road? Is that still for discussion?
So I'll let Tony jump into it as needed. So the approximate cost for the bathroom is about $300,000 total. We want to make sure it comes under 300. So that's a split cost of about 150,000 city and district. The city has, in addition to that, an investment of an additional $200,000 for other investments in the rec center above the bathroom. I think
That's correct. We have 150,000 allocated for the restroom remodel and then additional 200 for the rec center itself.
Okay, but ongoing, so would that cover ongoing operational costs too? Or is that separate?
So as Tony mentioned earlier, we have been in the early talks of collaborating, like who shares those costs and, hourly, like custodial and maintenance, repairs, and the ongoing supplies as well for the rec center restrooms.
And the intent, I assume, is to keep the parity, like sharing the costs as opposed to one making up more than the other.
That's correct. We're going to be having some follow-up conversations to just determine what those costs are going to be on an ongoing basis. But yes, both organizations are currently budgeting for custodial for the facility.
Okay. Board members, any other questions? Trustee Smith?
I'm gonna turn it over to Alexander.
Oh, trustee Tortorella.
Just one quick question. I know you mentioned, Carlos, thank you for this, by the way. The recommendation is option 1. So just to be clear, that recommendation for option 1 is just for continuity when it comes to the aesthetics of the space, or is there something else that we're missing or that we should know as to why option 1 is the recommended choice over option 2?
Correct. It's solely just aesthetics. It's brighter space of, the white tile, especially being the low ceiling. We are upgrading the lighting, but with the white tile, it'll brighten up the space.
Well, okay. Board member, trustee Smith?
Sorry, yeah. Sorry. I would just ask that we keep a close eye on what those costs will be once the bathrooms are renovated. Because right now we know we have limited access, but once we open the rec center, we're gonna see more traffic. I'm curious to see if we're gonna double or triple on those monthly expenses. So just something for us to keep an eye on, do more strategic plan regarding this. Yeah, thank you.
Trustee Gus, sorry, I didn't see you.
I'm sorry. Who will be allowed access to these restrooms?
So during the school day, it's our existing practice, so students access it with the teachers in there, you know, when the kids are in the rec center, they'll be using the restrooms. And then at our events like the multicultural fair, so during our work hours, or Monday through Friday, our student use hours. We don't anticipate who uses it to change. I don't know from the city side what that looks like.
So currently we have PE sports utilizing it on Fridays and Saturdays, and then on weekends, we are also planning to open it to the public on a pilot program basis. And we've had demand from users of the adjacent fields to access those restrooms. And so after the remodeling is complete, we're going to open those restrooms and see how that goes. And then if we do graffiti or vandalism, then we'll make a decision at that time.
Is there a possibility for like, even though the field is not rented, or like these groups to put down some sort of security deposit or something to try to keep up access or anything like that?
It's possible. I think it would be a little bit difficult to determine who actually committed the act of vandalism or whatever the case might be. If it is open to the public, I mean, obviously we've got similar experiences in our public parks with our restrooms. They get a lot of use, and you have all different kinds of users coming in there throughout the day. So our hope is that the community can be responsible with that access, and we won't have any issues, but we'll have to address those as they come up.
Okay, thank you, trustee. Anyone else? The question about security cameras, is there any discussion about security or any cameras in that space when it comes open to the public? I'm just curious, does that come up yet? No.
No, we do not have any, because the building belongs to the city, so I'm actually not sure if you have security cameras.
Yeah, we haven't built those into the scope of any of the improvements to the recreation center. So it's something that we can certainly consider as part of that larger remodel facility.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other questions from the school board, I'll turn it over to Mayor Stone.
Thank you so much. I'll look to my council members and see if anyone has questions or comments. Councilmember Smith?
Just looking at the two options, I see that there's a difference in floor material, not just color, it looks like, but I can't really see them on either of these slides. Can you go over what those are?
Yep. So it'll be the same flooring material. That's one cost consideration that we're still working with the architect when we continue the design and construction documents, is whether it's the 1 inch tile on the floor, or if the possibility of doing concrete flooring, minimize the maintenance. But because it's existing concrete, it's already etched, it's aged, it's a little bit hard to see what it'll look like when we demo the restrooms.
So concrete or tile, basically.
Correct.
Okay. On the flooring materials, is there anything, or do you know if there's anything in the bid as far as floor grit? Like when you have wet surfaces like by a pool or something, you put a stand in your sealants, you have grit on it. Is that?
Yes, so depending on which flooring option the architect, recommends us to go with, there is that consideration for the AdTech slip flooring.
That's all the questions I have at the moment.
Councilmember Altamirano?
Thank you. One of the concerns that we had last time we met was access for the public on weekends. So I just want to make sure that it is something that we will be providing for the all the clubs and everyone that is there. Additionally, I would recommend, thank you for all the hard work, but I would recommend that in the future, maybe a color edition would be nice. It is $260,000 we're spending, and so having a better idea of what we're kind of choosing would be helpful. I personally like option 1, but I'd like this to be colored and possibly bigger, just so that I know that I'm making the best decision.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Thanks for the mentioning the hot water. This has become an issue. When we distribute food, which we've been doing now for six years. We get inspected by the San Diego Food Bank, and that has been one of their biggest complaints, is that you don't have hot water. Yay, hot water. Will there be portable restrooms available when you're doing the construction for both school use and weekend use? Are there any plans for that? You know, something maybe we could collaborate on together. Or I don't know, finish one and keep the other one open. I'm just a plan. Sometimes you don't have to tell me what it is, but I'm just in it. And I also had a question about the tile floor versus concrete, just because the ongoing maintenance, sometimes the tile is a little bit hard, but if we're gonna do the tile, we're gonna do the tile. Oh, and then I did see the colors here. What's gonna be painted red? I'm just curious, like there's a red paint color, what's that?
So the red is the new door frame and doors, so it
And they're
goes,
red now.
yeah, it goes with the rec center
Yeah.
coloring of the exterior trims. So that's the architect kept that color is the way, same way.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Vardia.
Okay, so I want to just give some brief comments. I did do the math on how much district the usage is versus the city. And I just wanted to point out that the school district currently is getting 60 hours of usage and the city's only getting 34. So that's something to be considered when we go forward with programming. We can balance that out more fair. Another concern with both option 1 and 2 is an ADA accessible sink. I don't see one lower. And that would actually also help the smaller kids. I know people in a wheelchair, they can't. I have a roommate that was, missing a leg, can't.
I'll make sure that that is accounted for, but I'm pretty sure it's up to code, so DSA wouldn't approve it without an ADA
Okay.
or restroom.
Okay, thank you. I just don't see it on the diagram, so I just want to make sure. And then for the options, I personally like option 2. I think it's very classic, it's timeless. I think option 1 is a little bit busy for me, and it leaves it up for a lot of graffiti with the white. Those are mine.
If I might call out to somebody in the audience, Mark Gordon spent some quality time there. Mark, would you come up? So, I had the opportunity to go and look at the bathrooms with Mark. And there were a number of issues. One of the biggest issues I'm concerned about is just the age of the plumbing and the sewer line there. You flush the women's bathroom and it backs up in the men's. Can you address some of the concerns that you have and make sure that we are addressing that here?
Well, I'm not a plumber, I coach kids. This is what I expect for me to be here, and it's about yeah, just the way the plumbing is, it'll get better. When you flush the men's, all of a sudden it comes out to the women's, but that's gonna be all fixed when they do the whole remodel, so that's just a plumbing issue there. But just talking about the tile on the floor, just my experience, I've been here, just so everybody knows, I've been here since '94, went to Monterey Heights, went here. Been here since '94, been doing it for the last 15 since the shutdown, 2011, but my experience is the tile floor with the kids with those types of sinks. They're gonna wash their hands, they can barely reach the butt, they get it, the soap, it's all over the ground, and it's just so wet. On the tile, kids are gonna be running in, when you tell them to walk, they're still gonna run. They can slip and fall and hit their head on that thing, so I just think the concrete would be better, something that's gonna be more traction for them so they don't slip. We have mats for over years going in, but there's a lot of patches where you can get slippery, so that's just my opinion. And also on the sinks, that's a little off topic. I would think more of a trough type of thing to keep all the water in there, so when they press the button, it's not just splashing on the sink and then going right off like a waterfall. And so that way it just kind of keeps it better contained than that. That's just my opinion. Anything else that was in on that?
You talk about the access to that, to the plumbing in between the two and the door and the safety there.
So there's the men and women's bathroom, and in between is just a door. And all the pipes are running in between that way. But they're disconnected, and I'm not a plumber, so I don't know. I think it was made in 1986, the rec center, and it hasn't really been touched, the plumbing, since 1986, as well as the other upgrades. Like the bleachers, or, you know, that's another story down the road, but there's a lot of things we need to do to upgrade the rec center. To be able to do programs down the road, and bathroom is a big part of it. So I run the PB sports program, 2 to 10-year-old boys in club every Friday night. So about 50 to 60 kids, and we gotta use the bathrooms too as well, so. So it's a big deal if I'm here, because this is a big deal, because it can affect my programs and the kids, and porta potties that we're gonna need to do during the remodel, what kind of construction trucks are gonna be there that I might have to cancel a practice or two, because it's in the way, safety first for the kids, and how that's gonna look like, that's details down the road. But for just this, I don't know about the piping, but I'm saying the flooring, I would say not tile flooring, just no such floors, but I'd say a trough instead of a 3 sink thing, and obviously lower for the little kids, and as well as for special needs with wheelchairs, but hope I didn't mess anything up, but
No, thank you, Mark, thanks for everything you do, appreciate it.
Was it clear, Mayor Snow, on Mark's preference? Was he leaning on one option over the other?
Option three.
Option 3, because it seems I'd rather have a trough sink and lower. The back burner, like you said, there's gonna be graffiti or this or that's just gonna happen, but who's gonna maintain it, so that their comment of. Just like what's gonna maybe a kid might wanna do something in this little area compared to something that looks a little classic that maybe people won't, but. There's kids are unpredictable.
Which of these options could you?
Sorry, too much.
No, which of these options, if we had to take a vote today, could you move with option 1 or 2?
3 says. I would personally also do air dryer, not hand paper towel, because sometimes the electronic ones, the sensor, it doesn't work, and you get to bang it, break it, and so I'm not having the key to put a new one in. The air dryer is just gonna be there, well, we have trash on the ground, so let's clean it up. But, yeah, so.
Thank you.
Based on, yeah, there's one, you guys choose.
Thank you. So quick question, thank you for your input. Carlos, can you know, some of it can come out in the wash, so to speak, right? So like some of it, things that can be added, modified, like in the selection of electric hand dryer versus, so can you just comment on some of those things that you can comment on? So we just know that.
Yeah, I'll definitely take these comments back to the architect and the design team, and if we need it, I would say that wouldn't change much. But it is an option to put the air hand dryer as well.
And then while we're talking about amenities, diaper changing tables, sanitary supplies. I agree, I actually like option 2 for this more solid wall. I actually wrote on here graffiti too, as a concern. Also, tiles that are graffiti proof, I know we have paint that's graffiti proof, that's easy to clean up, so have that as a consideration. I'm also concerned about floating sinks. You know, I've been a kid before, I like to lift up, I like to push on them. We saw similar results with the water fountain, as the kids were slamming into it and everything that broke within a matter of months. So we want to make sure we're doing heavy duty on those. I do like having actual mirrors. For some reason, it's like a trend to take mirrors out of the bathrooms, and I like having mirrors in the bathrooms. And then I understand we're like maybe adjusting and keeping the same height because of concerns for existing plumbing and making it cheaper and easier to put in and adapt to that. But these are kids, and so if we make it easier for them to reach, then they won't be making as big of messes in there. So I also put in concerns for accessibility and making sure that the bathrooms are accessible. I also asked, and my interim city manager clarified that there'll be 2 urinals in there, and that there'll be 2 functioning urinals without road signs in between the urinals and stuff. And And then I also like having both options, the hand drying option with an electric hand dryer, and then also the paper towels. I've heard, you know, neither one's like necessarily environmentally safe or anything better hygiene wise, but I like having the option of the two, and that way if the towels run out, then there's another option. And with kids, want to keep them as clean as possible. So those were my thoughts, and then just wanted to echo how excited I am. I wish Jules was here to hear the magic. But that these are gonna be available to people during the weekends, when we're having our rec activities and when we have our multicultural fairs, those kind of things. Instead of people having to like traipse out to the other end of town, at the end of the park to be able to get the bathrooms. So thank you. And I'm very excited about this. Councilmember Altamirano.
I just wanted to circle back to Mayor Pro Tem and Heradia's comment regarding the amount of use, and just to point out that the Lemon Grove School District has used the facility for the last 15 years or so. So I would like to recommend that we consider that the school uses the rec center up to 3 p.m. and then the city would take over from 3 p.m. just to equal out and balance out the use, and also, going forward. And it's something that, we can work on, but that's just something that I would like us to consider.
Just a reminder, for you to remember, the city uses the facility all summer while the school's closed. So they're, was it 10 weeks? They're out from the break, and the city has, program. So the hours kind of, I don't know, I didn't do the math, but the hours kind of even out a little bit because of our summertime use. I think though, to be fair on that, that's an actual benefit to the school district. Well, so not necessarily because the school district has their own summer program. Well, they're some.
And my team has been working with the city to work on the updated joint use agreement. And though, we are mostly 6 to 6, we're not using it, July through June. So I mentioned basically it's mostly the basketball season from December to April, and not necessarily even 5 days a week. So in that basketball season, we're only using it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I think there's tons of opportunity to just communicate, hey, when are you using it, when do you need it, and collaborate. We develop our schedules, a year in advance, but of course, we're happy to be good partners and, make sure that that everyone's getting the use of it as needed.
Just one thing while we're talking about. Right now, that door to the like creepy room in between the two is open, and there's like a I think it's like ladders that you can climb in there, which I was a mischievous kid and I would have climbed that. So we need to make sure that that's locked, kept locked, and that's for both the city and the school district to make sure so that we don't have kids going in there. I don't know what you were doing there, but they're creative. Councilmember Smith?
Yeah, so I guess a few follow-up to some of the discussion. As far as paper towels versus the air dryer, I would be curious as to what that continual cost is. Because yes, paper towels, buying them is a cost, but you will have to replace that air dryer at some point, and which one of those over several years is actually gonna cost less. And then I'm sure your designer has that information, or your contractor does. As far as the tiles, yes, I think a graffiti resistant coating is good to have on the tiles. Tiles are also going to be easy to clean on their own, just inherently from the material that they are because of the ceramic. As far as ADA, so 10% of anything that you do in a building has to be ADA with a minimum of 1. So we see 3 sinks. One of those is going to end up being lowered. Is how that's going to go. They are floating sinks because you need knee clearance for ADA. It's a wheelchair requirement. There are measurements for that. So some of the things are just going to be dealt by building code and by standards that we're talking about. And I am gonna leave that to your architect and the state architect because they have that covered. So I agree with the graffiti resistant coating. I think we should do paper towel versus air dryer based on cost. I'm actually leaning towards option one in that I do like that option two is kind of a timeless look, but that is going to feel like a subway when you're in that small space. And so having something lighter and a bit more fun, I mean, it's a recreation center, so it's a bit more fun. And that will help lighten up the space that is actually quite small that you're in. So I'm leaning more towards option one, and I'm happy to hear that we have that grid that I was talking about before, if I wasn't clear, is a slip resistant grid. That's the purpose of it. So I do think we have some of that, whether we have tile or concrete.
Want us to take a poll on, okay, so I like option two, cement floor with the amenities that I discussed.
We just want to do a quick hand poll, like just to see where people are as a group. That way we're not spending a lot of time going back
I
and
just real
forth.
quick wanted to also oppose the hand dryers. They spread germs and I refuse to use them, so. I'm not voting for those. I know, I hate it. That's like every time I go to a certain restaurant, they don't have that. It's like, oh my gosh, come on, I have to leave with wet hands. Cause I'm not doing it. But yeah, I think a hand show would be
Yeah,
good.
just,
My
you know,
favor.
it'll save some time going back and forth. So just quickly by show of hands, it's not an official vote. Option one. Yeah, for everybody, just get a visual, okay. Option two. Okay, all right. Okay, so who would like to make a motion on the side of the city here, and we'll follow from there.
Not to be annoying, but I don't like the yellow. So if we could find a different yellow on option, whatever, and I would like to move that we adopt option one.
I'll second.
You wanna call your roll?
I'll call our votes, all in favor of option one, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Aye. Any abstaining? None. And so option one has it by 4-1.
Okay. All right, board members, who would like to make a motion?
That wasn't me that time because mine wasn't on. I do make the motion for option one.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
So motion by trustee Kessel and second by trustee Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. All right, so we have option one as the one moving forward for the recreation center bathroom project design. So with that, we will adjourn at 8:18 and Mayor Snow.
We are also adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled city council meeting won't be until the 3rd of August. And so we'll see you then. Also, remember to put on your calendar concerts in the park this Thursday. Movies in the Park is coming up in early August, and we're also having our final concert in the park in early August as well. Come bring your families. It's a really good time. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.